Welcome to another episode of Apex Legends Deep Dive, and today's legend is WRAITH.
There's a thin line between life and death. You'll find me there.
On today's episode, we will be looking at all the perks and details for WRAITH. Before we begin, I would just like to say if you're here watching this video, I really appreciate you stopping by and taking the time in your day to check it out. If you would like, hit that subscribe button to keep up to date with all my content, and leave a like on the video if you're enjoying this series of Apex Legends Deep Dive. Enjoy. Alright, so as mentioned before in my previous episode, WRAITH falls under the skirmisher class range, which means she has the ability to scan care packages in the air or on the ground. So WRAITH, of course, if any of the OGs remember, any of the vets, the Apex veterans, you should know that WRAITH, when the game barely began, was known as a sweat character. So once you saw that bald skin WRAITH, with 20 bomb badges and 10,000 kills or more, you already knew you were in a lobby with the ultra sweat hardcore movement player on your team. So WRAITH has also been on the same path as Pathfinder. Obviously, in the very first seasons, WRAITH was the highest pick, with Pathfinder. I think she was meta for the first couple seasons. She was a very strong character for a long time, and then obviously she got nerfed, then she got tweaked. Before she had her instant Q, her portal could travel for miles, and then obviously her hitbox was small as heck because she had her Naruto run that everyone loves and misses so much because it gave her this uniqueness, right? So she was very unique, and a lot of people miss that still. So I think she's still a great character. I think even though she's been through some things with the nerfs and downtimes, she was obviously not forgotten, but she hasn't really been that high on the pick rigs before. But until recently, I think she has picked up again. She's still, her abilities are very useful still for the most part. They're not that, maybe I think what happened with WRAITH is that she just kind of got overused and kind of just figure out how her play style is. But I think there are still some people that can still play WRAITH pretty good for sure. But I think with this new perk system, she's got in a pretty good spot now to be viable in match. All right, so let's do an introduction to WRAITH's abilities. WRAITH has a passive which is called Voices from the Void. This acts as like a warning system for WRAITH and the team as well. It warns you when you're being aimed at directly, when traps are nearby, or when enemies are nearby. Unfortunately, the activation of this passive is inconsistent at times. I remember at one point it was horrible, like it would not even activate at all sometimes. But yeah, they've adjusted it as time has gone by. But I think for some players, I think it's still inconsistent a little bit. I think for all the mains out there, I think they will probably quote me on this, but I think maybe that's kind of why she's still on the low. She's like mid-range on the pick list. Her tactical is called Into the Void. This allows your character to go into a void space or basically make yourself invisible to avoid all damage. The cooldown for this is 25 seconds. The ability lasts for a total of 4 seconds, and you get a 30% speed boost as well. Her tactical is very good to get out of tight situations for sure. Something to keep in mind though is that it does take 1.25 seconds to activate because they added a animation to her now. So before, back in the day, she had an instant Q, so you could just throw it, boom, you automatically turn invisible. I honestly think it wasn't that bad, but it was a very easy way to get out of situations even quicker than what it is now. Now you kind of have to be a little bit more strategic with it, right? Because you have a 1 second animation. People have figured out to kind of just strafe and just figure out a way to get away for a second. So it's not as bad. If you play with her now, you'll probably get used to it pretty quick, the animation part. Her ultimate is called Dimensional Rift. This creates a portal that links 2 locations. Basically, anyone can travel through, so you can go from point A to point B. The portal stays active for 45 seconds, and the cooldown for it is 3 minutes. This gives a great advantage for players to rotate or escape situations. It can be used to save your teammates when they're down, or even bait enemies as well. Her portal has always been a very good thing to use when the time calls for it. So I believe now you can go up to 152 meters from beginning to end. So it was shorter back a couple seasons ago. I honestly don't remember, but it was short, and I remember when they shortened it, it was horrible. I don't even think WRAITH was being even looked at the time back then, but I remember they reverted it back, and now it's pretty long. I don't think it's as long as it used to be from day one, but they keep adjusting as they go. All right, so let's take a look at level 2 upgrades for Wraith. Option 1, tactical upgrade, minus 5 seconds on cooldown for your tactical. This option basically gives you the ability to use your tactical 5 seconds quicker. Right now, currently, tactical cooldown is 25 seconds. So with this perk, you'll be at 20 seconds. I think this perk is very good to have. That way you can use your tactical, which is the Into the Void. You can use it quicker and it gives you more chances to have that escape more often. So that's not too bad to have. All right, so option 2, Sixth Sense. So your passive triggers when nearby squads counts increase. This perk is an additional warning system, I think, in my opinion. So your passive will basically alert you when basically another squad comes into the area. So let's say you already have one in front of you and then another squad is coming in, your passive would trigger that as well. So I think it could be useful in some situations to have intel and awareness of how many teams you have to escape or fight. Of course, it won't tell you where they are, but they'll just kind of warn you to be like, hey, look, another squad is near. It's just another alert system. All right, so let's take a look at level 3 upgrades for Wraith. Option 1, ultimate upgrade, reduce ultimate cooldown by 20%. This gives you basically a cooldown for your portal by 20%. Right now it's currently at 3 minutes to charge, so this perk would help with getting your portal quicker, maybe around 2 minutes and 40 maybe at the most. But also if you combine this with the ultimate accelerant, you could probably get it even faster. So if you have this on at level 3, you just pop one ultimate accelerant, you'll probably be like at 80% maybe at the most, depending on how far already you are advanced with the cooldown. But it lets you have the cooldown, so you'll be able to get that portal faster. And that will be helpful to have on standby, whether you need to get out quick. At least you know you have your ultimate pretty quick. So it is a pretty good choice. Option 2, quick swift, reduce your tactical windup by 20%. So this perk basically allows you to use your tactical slightly quicker. So right now the animation is 1.25 seconds. So if you have this perk activated, it will, instead of taking the 1.25 seconds, it would only take 1 second to activate instead. So I know this is not, we all want the insta Q back, that's for sure, but 1 second is not as bad. Is it a big difference? In my opinion, I don't really think so. But if you combine it with the first perk in level 2, instead of, you know, the 20 seconds, you're losing a little bit of time. But again, is it the old Q? No. Is it better? Probably not. But yes, I mean, nothing will ever beat the insta Q, but I mean, 1 second isn't as bad. All right, so my final verdict for Wraith, it was a little bit challenging, but ultimately I decided to choose the best 2 perks that were, in my opinion. I would say the best combo to use by default for Wraith would be Tactical Upgrade and Quick Swift. Now, I say this combo to be used by default because Tactical Upgrade will give you the Into the Void tactical in 20 seconds instead of the 25, which I think overrides the other perk at this level, at level 2. I think Sixth Sense, I mean, I don't see a good reason to use that over your tactical having a recharge ability faster. So that's the only reason I say that for level 2. And, you know, because being able to queue up quickly is essentials to have when you're in a tight situation. So, and then obviously I picked Quick Swift because I think the 1 second wind up animation is also a better perk to have in a tight situation. Instead of taking that 1.25 seconds to while you're queuing, you know, I think it'll be better to have the 1 second wind up instead. But there is an exception at level 3. I would go with Ultimate Upgrade if your teammates need help rotating. So as you know, level 3, you'll probably get it, you know, pretty into the game already, depending on how much damage you did, whether you got more harvester, you know, it just depends, right? But as you level up, I would say this is one of those options, just like Pathfinder, where you would have to choose as you go almost. So I would choose this because, you know, depending on my team, obviously. So for example, let's say you're in a match and you notice your teammates are slow or they have slow characters. Let's say you have 2 Gibbies, one Gibby and 1 Caustic. You know, they're pretty heavy dudes, big hitboxes. You know, to have your ultimate on standby quicker will help them rotate faster with you as well, and instead of them getting, you know, just beamed out of the sky or, you know, any situation, right? So faster ultimate upgrades are great, but they could always be countered by ultimate accelerants. So I mean, you could always pop 1 or 2 ultimate excels if you find them, of course. But you know, if you don't want to use that, you could always go that route, you know, instead of using your perk just for that, instead of giving up the 1 second wind up. I think that's what it is by default, in my opinion. I think that would be the best combo to have. Well, there it is, everyone. That is all the details on Wraith and how each perk can benefit you or not while in game. I appreciate everyone that stopped by to check out the video. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe and check all uploads, shorts, and streams. I will be continuing to the next legend, Octane, in the next episode. Enjoy the rest of your day, and remember, never stop gaming. Amaru out. Peace.